It turns out that fireworks on Friday at the World Cup is exactly what we needed. I hadn't realized that going into the matches, but what a dramatic way to finish up the first set of quarterfinals. We, of course, had Croatia versus Brazil and then Argentina versus the Netherlands. And of course, it was Croatia who came through dramatically against Brazil in a penalty shootout. That means Brazil are out of the World Cup. And Argentina, of course, did the same, beating the Netherlands on a penalty shootout as well, in a very dramatic and bad tempered match, I would say, after something that was generally quite calm for the first 50, well, no, I was going to say 50 minutes, first 100 minutes or so. It was only towards the end of that match that it got very, very fiery. Van Gaal has stepped down. Oh, Van Goal, as we're calling him here. Maybe that should be his name. Not really. He wasn't. He wasn't a big man for all of the goals. There, we fixed it. Is Neymar going to retire as a result of this? And we look ahead to the matches on day 21 today. Of course, the other quarterfinals need to be sorted out. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified of future videos. So let's get straight into it. Of course, yesterday we had first up Croatia versus Brazil. That match actually finished scoreless, and in the end, it was Croatia and Brazil drawing 1-1 after extra time. It went to a penalty shootout, and Croatia once again showing that they know exactly what to do in a penalty shootout. Their goalkeeper, pretty good performance from him. Marquinhos hit the post at the final penalty to ensure that Croatia go through to the semi-final, where they will face the. I was about to say the Netherlands. No, they will face Argentina. Argentina drew 2-2 with Netherlands in normal time, and then they couldn't be separated in extra time, went to a penalty shootout, and it was Argentina that were the winners 4-3 there in the penalty shootout, and Netherlands crucially missing their first two penalties. Let's go and have a look at some of the stats behind those matches. First up, of course, we have Brazil and Croatia here, as you can see on the screen. And as I said, it was extra time where the goals came in this one. Croatia did set up to be very defensive, as we've said a couple of times on this channel. They were street smart and they were much better prepared for a match against Brazil than South Korea were, for example. It was goalless, went to extra time. Then it was Neymar who finally broke the deadlock, actually evening Pele's goal scoring record for Brazil, which I hadn't realized he was closing in on that record. So, but he has been playing for Brazil for quite some time, but that's a huge record. And I would have never put Neymar and Pele on the same sentence together. But there you go, there you go. What would I know? I wasn't around when Pele was playing, so actually it's more the legend that lives in the mind as opposed to anything else. It was Petkovic scored the equalizer for Croatia. I just say for the Brazil goal, it looked phenomenal. It was 2-1-2s with Neymar, and his finish perfect, just taking the ball around the goalkeeper, putting the ball into the top of the net. Then actually just watching the replays, it was so close that he could have actually blasted that ball over the bar by accident, because this football, for whatever reason, so many of the shots have just taken off into the stands. It's quite incredible. Having a look at the stats, you can see that the possession was very even between both teams, 45% each, with 10% in contest. Obviously, we know the goals were completely even. Attempts on goal, though, tells a different story. Brazil dominated for the most part of that match with 20 total attempts on goal, 11 of which were on target, versus only one shot on target coming through from Croatia. So it was all Brazil in terms of the pressure that they were putting onto the goal. Final third entries also tells a very Brazilian story, and line breaks, yeah, a little bit more so towards Croatia. In terms of discipline in this match, yellow cards 3 versus 2, no red cards, so that wasn't too bad. But little did we realize what was going on later that day in terms of Argentina and the Netherlands. That was not such a straightforward affair in terms of discipline. In saying that, let's go there. As we know well by now, the match was 2-2 after full time. No goals in extra time for this match, and then the penalty shootout in which Argentina won 4-3. Argentina did miss one penalty, but crucially Netherlands missed two penalties. Looking at the goal scoring, it was actually 2-0 to Argentina, so it looked like they were cruising into the semi-final. Molina scored in the 35th minute, and then Messi got a penalty in the 73rd minute. Messi's penalty, let me tell you, that firstly, it was a penalty, if you go by the rules. But I've been surprised in this World Cup about how some teams, in particular Argentina, have gotten really soft penalties. There was no no doubts, no second questions, nothing like that around some of these penalties. But Argentina have consistently gotten these, and I think Saudi Arabia was one where they got quite a dodgy penalty. Actually, they missed the penalty, but there have been a few more incidents in this World Cup as well. Maybe not just with the Argentina match, where I felt like the referees have been very quick to give penalties. Anyway, in this case, it was Dumfries, and he didn't get the red card for this, by the way, but it was Dumfries that committed the foul. And it was a foul. It was a foul, and it was barely inside the box, but it is technically a penalty. If it had gone to VAR, they'd have probably given a penalty, but I did find that part interesting. It was Weghorst then that hit back in the 83rd minute, and then to drama of all dramas, the 11th minute of injury time. It was a 10-minute injury time, but of course they took their time setting up the free kick and everything at the very end. And Netherlands played an incredible ball where they basically passed the ball under the wall, and Weghorst was there. He's big enough, strong enough to hold off the defender, and he got in his shot to get the equaliser. Very dramatic at the end of the match. He went to extra time after that, and things really kicked off in terms of in terms of the discipline, or lack of discipline, we should say. That this was a fiery encounter, or a feisty encounter for certain, between Netherlands and Argentina. What does it mean for the future of Argentina in this competition? Well, it's still good for them. It's still good for them. They're through to the semi-final, as we know for a fact. I was more thinking the yellow and red card relationship with some players possibly being banned for the final if they were to make it that far. I'm not aware of this yet, but I know Argentina have picked up quite a few yellow cards in this tournament. Actually, Messi picked up one as well last night, but it won't be a surprise when you see the stats. So firstly, looking at the stats, possession 45-44, so once again very even in terms of possession. Goal attempts, though, tells once again a very different story. The Netherlands up to about the 80th minute in this match only had one shot on goal, of which zero on target, so one off target shot on goal, we should say, before they actually came to life and realized that they need to get goals in this, which was an incredible stat. So it was 15 versus 5 in terms of attempts on goal, 6 on target versus 2 on target. Of course, the 2 on target from the Netherlands were goals, so that's incredible, absolutely incredible. Final third entries, uh, pretty even if you look across the left and the right channels there. And where do we need to get to here? Yes, discipline, yellow cards, fouls against. So the Netherlands had 30 fouls against, whilst Argentina had 18 fouls against. Yellow cards, 4 for the Netherlands, 8 for Argentina. That stat for me feels wrong somehow. So that's 12 yellow cards altogether, and they're saying no red cards. So clearly these are the stats up to the 90th minute, so they don't include extra time in here, because I was wondering, I was looking at that. There were some incredible scenes going on during that match. That's for certain. So let me switch back to my studio view. Now, in terms of that match, I feel like I did have some stats on the yellow cards. Where is it gone? I'm not finding it at the moment, but what I can tell you is that this match did set a record in all of the World Cups for the total amount of cards handed out. Let me see if I can find that number here. Hmm. 16 cards in total. Okay, so we had 12 within the 90 minutes, or the whatever you want to call it, the 100 minutes, including injury time. But after extra time in total, it was 16 cards and four sending offs. Um, she's incredible. There weren't four sending offs at all. There weren't four sending offs. Um, that's the previous record. Okay, that's the previous, and that was Portugal versus Netherlands. So Netherlands love a good old scrappy match. So 14 cards, is that right? So 18 yellow cards, eight for the Netherlands, eight for Argentina, and one each for each of the managers. And then Dumfries was sent off after he received two yellow cards. So that's the stat from last night's match: 18 yellow cards. So that's a new World Cup record. I don't think that's a record anybody is going to be proud of. It was a very bad-tempered affair. So it was actually Paredes from the Argentinian team that kicked off all of this squabbling and fighting and everything else that followed. You could argue he should have been shown a straight red card for his tackle on Nathan Ake. He got away with it, but actually he ended up kicking the ball into the Dutch bench. This was around the 89th minute, by the way. It didn't hit anybody, thankfully. It hit the padding seating, but it really set the tone. It was a very strong gesture to make that he did that. He got away with it. Even the tackle itself should have deserved a yellow card, but he got away with that. But the Dutch bench were straight up on their field, and everybody was onto the field, and melees followed that, and Otamendi got booked in some of the chaos, but in general, people weren't booked. I thought the referee kind of lost control. And the match stayed 11 versus 11 after that point in time. Of course, we did have Dumfries getting his red card later on. And, Netherlands defender Jurien Timber had conceded the highest number of fouls at this World Cup, 17 in total across 5 games. That also lets you know how many flashpoints were coming into this, and he certainly brought that form into this match as well. Second in the standings then is Dumfries with 16. So it seems to be the Netherlands that are more the issue than anybody else. Well, Argentina certainly played the game with them and made sure that they got the fieriness or the tempers flared up for this one. Actually, Messi speaking after the match was talking about the referee, and he said, "I don't want to talk about the referee because they sanction you for being honest." I think people saw what it was. FIFA cannot put such a referee who is not up to the task for a game of this level. And the referee was really, really bad in that match as well. It was a bit of a joke, I have to say. Yes, just looking at some other news stories then. So Louis van Gaal has stepped down as the Dutch manager. It was always expected he was going to do this, so he re-entered football out of retirement to take on this position. He has been 16 months in charge. He actually took over for Ronald Koeman, who took over as the Barcelona manager, and that's the reason he stepped away from the Dutch setup. And it's now expected that Koeman will be back to take on the Dutch job following his failure, I guess is what you would call it, over at Barcelona. He's a pretty good manager, but it just didn't work for him at all at Barcelona. So that's Van Gaal gone. Also, just to point out that Tito, the Brazilian, I was going to say Brazilian referee, the Brazilian coach, has also left. And he was 6 years in charge. He's 61 years of age. And he said he goes in peace. And then all of the speculation turned to Neymar. And is Neymar going to retire? And Neymar being Neymar, he didn't really give away anything. Let's just go through what Neymar said before I give you my thoughts on this. Okay, I have it here. Uh, Neymar was asked by reporters if he's going to retire and what the future holds, and he said, "Honestly, I do not know. I think talking now is bad because of the heat of the moment. Maybe I'm not thinking straight. To say that this would be the end would be rushing myself, but I don't guarantee anything either. Let's see what happens going forward. I want to take this time to think about it, think about what I want for myself. I will not close the door to playing for Brazil, and I do not say 100% that I'll come back." So he's very much on the fence about this. Now, there is a Copa America coming up in 2 years in 2024. I think Neymar will probably stick around for that one. There is a certain sense that despite the fact that he's equaled Neymar, well, it is his record now as well, but that despite the fact that he's equaled Pele's record, that he hasn't achieved as much as Pele, as in Brazil haven't won a lot of tournaments or anything like that. They have underachieved in a sense. I think out of the last 5 World Cups, they've been knocked out 4 times at the quarterfinal stage. So really, by Brazilian terms, this is very much underachieving. So I'm guessing he will certainly want an opportunity to win the Copa America, and maybe he'll want another shot at the World Cup as well. We'll find out, I guess, in due course on that one. But coming back to the Pele record as well, I don't think he'll be happy just to leave it as having equaled Pele's record. I think he's going to want to beat Pele's record. And in international football these days, you just need to put Brazil up against a quite a weak opposition, and he will easily break that record. So I think it's all there for Neymar. I'm almost convinced he won't retire at this moment in time. But yeah, we'll find out in due course, as I always say. What else do we need to report on? Oh yes, of course, the upcoming matches today. So let's just run you through what those are. So we're going to have first match today will be, of course, Morocco versus Portugal. I can't lie and say I'm really looking forward to this, because I think we know what to expect from Morocco. Portugal will be very attacking though, and this is going to be a bit of a problem for Morocco. They're going to have to bring out their absolute best defense to fend off the Portuguese attack here. Portugal have been phenomenal in this tournament so far. I've been very impressed with them. I wonder if Ronaldo starts. We have no news on this yet. I anticipate that he probably will start based on the comments that have been coming from the coach recently, where he's been basically defending Ronaldo. So it seems like Ronaldo has done his time in terms of being dropped from the previous match. It would be harsh though on Ramos to drop him, considering the hat-trick he got last time out. So remains to be seen. England versus France then is later tonight. That's the big one everybody is talking about. As ever, very hard to pick a winner from this one. By the way, with Morocco and Portugal, I would fancy Portugal to pip them on that one, probably in normal time as opposed to going to extra time. But 2 penalty shootouts down out of 2 matches so far in the quarterfinals, so never say never on that one. England versus France, I do fancy France to just about win that one. It will be a very tight match, but I think France have slightly more firepower versus England's weaker defence. Could be wrong. Usually I am wrong, but that's what I'm thinking at this moment in time. And looking at the setup for those matches, we don't have too much team news. France have pointed out, though, or at least it was pointed out during the press briefings, that France have Jules Koundé and Chouamini are both on yellow cards, and they would miss out on the semi-final if they were cautioned today. But Deschamps has responded to that by saying that, well, you can't play football with a handbrake on, and I guess he's right. So they're going to go for it full steam ahead. With regards to England team news, so Sterling has returned to Qatar, and he has trained with the squad. I don't think he's going to be included in the starting squad. I'd be very surprised about that. Declan Rice missed training because of illness on Wednesday, but he was involved in the latest training session, so the concerns around him starting have been eased, so it looks like he may be available to play. Callum Wilson has been nursing a slight muscle strain, but he has also trained and showed no signs of injury. It's speculated that France will probably be unchanged after their last 16 win. And Mbappe had a slight knock, but he has returned to training after being given a rest day on Tuesday. So it looks like a clean bill of health for both teams heading into this match, which is exactly what we want. And it should be a very, very good affair. I'm hoping it'll be a very good affair. After the drama of the end of the Argentina and Netherlands match yesterday, I think expectations will be quite high. But anyway, I hope you're looking forward to the football. Let us know in the comments who you think are going to win the final 2 quarterfinals, and indeed what you've thought of the World Cup so far. I'm very on the fence about this. I'm not convinced this World Cup has been that high quality tournament or that entertaining for that matter. regardless of the odd once-off matches we have like yesterday. And even that match in itself was pretty boring up to around the 90th minute, well, up to around the 80th minute, let's put it that way. But yeah, that can be football sometimes. So thank you very much for joining us as ever. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified. This really helps us. And I will speak to you soon. I hope you enjoy the football today.